My name is Elena Thompson, and 3 years ago, I thought I knew my family like the back of my hand. Every laugh, every scar, every Sunday dinner in our Portland home. But on a rain-soaked afternoon, a single piece of paper hidden in my late father's study turned my world upside down. It was a marriage certificate, yellowed with age, revealing my mother's secret wedding to a man I'd never heard of, and a half-brother she'd kept hidden for 25 years. Let me take you to that moment, when the scent of old books and betrayal filled the air, and I uncovered a truth that would explode our family and rewrite everything I thought I knew about love and loyalty. I grew up in Portland, Oregon, in the Laurelhurst neighborhood, where the streets were a maze of leafy canopies and historic homes that seemed to hold stories in their creaking floors. Our house was a classic craftsman, with a front porch where Mom and I would rock in the swing chair during those rare sunny afternoons, sipping lemonade and talking about everything and nothing. The backyard was my playground, sloping down to a small creek where I'd spend hours building fairy houses from sticks and moss, imagining a world of magic beyond the fence. My parents, Grace and David Thompson, were the architects of my childhood, literally in Dad's case. Dad was an architect who specialized in sustainable designs, always coming home with rolls of blueprints under his arm, his eyes alight with ideas for homes that blended with nature rather than conquered it. He'd set up a drafting table in the garage, and I'd sit on a stool beside him as he sketched lines that turned into buildings. "See, Elena," he'd say, his voice warm like the wood he loved, "a good foundation can withstand any storm." Mom was the heart of the home, a nurse at the local hospital with a gift for healing both bodies and spirits. She'd come home from shifts exhausted but smiling, her uniform pocket bulging with lollipops for me. We weren't wealthy. Dad's small firm handled local projects like renovating old warehouses into eco-friendly lofts, and Mom's salary covered the bills with little left for luxuries. Dinners were simple, spaghetti nights with garlic bread baked from scratch, or tacos on Fridays when Dad would join us post-divorce. Yes, the divorce. It came when I was 10, a slow unraveling that started with whispered arguments behind closed doors. Dad's long hours at work clashed with Mom's resentment over carrying the home load, and one evening, over a meal of Mom's famous pot roast, they told me, "We're better as friends, sweetie," Mom said, her eyes misty. Dad nodded, his hand on mine. "But we'll always be your parents."
The split was amicable, shared custody, no big court battles, but it changed everything. Dad moved to a cozy apartment in the Pearl District with views of the Willamette River. Weekends with him were adventures. Bike rides along the waterfront, visits to food carts for falafel and ice cream, or movie marathons with popcorn and his bad puns. "Why did the architect go broke? Because his plans didn't add up," he'd joke, and I'd groan but laugh. Mom stayed in the house, focusing on her career. She climbed to head nurse in the oncology ward, where her compassion for patients earned her nicknames like Angel Grace. She dated occasionally, a colleague from work, a friend from book club, but nothing serious stuck. "I'm content with you, Elena," she'd say, brushing my hair before bed. "You're my greatest adventure." I believed her, cherishing our girl nights, baking chocolate chip cookies while watching rom-coms, or hiking in Forest Park, where the trails wound through fern-filled forests, and we'd talk about my dreams of a career in marketing, creating campaigns that could change the world. High school flew by in a blur of soccer practice, piano lessons, and AP classes. I was the overachiever, driven by a need to make my parents proud. College at the University of Washington in Seattle was my escape, a place where the city's tech vibe matched my ambition. I majored in marketing, interning at startups, building a portfolio of digital campaigns. Graduation came with honors, and I landed a job at a mid-sized firm in Seattle, specializing in social media strategies for eco-brands, a nod to Dad's influence. My apartment was small but mine, with a balcony overlooking Puget Sound, where I'd sip coffee and call Mom daily. "How's the book club? Any good romances?" She'd laugh, sharing tales of her friends' drama, while I'd update her on my latest date or work win. Dad would call too, his voice full of pride. "You're building something great, kiddo." Family felt stable, even if Dad was gone. Dad's death was a bolt from the blue. At 58, he was hiking in the Columbia River Gorge, a place he loved for its rugged beauty, when a heart attack struck. The ranger's call came on a Tuesday morning. Mom's voice shattered over the line, "He's gone, Elena. Come home." The funeral was in a small Portland chapel, rain lashing the stained glass windows as mourners shared stories of Dad's generosity. He designed pro bono homes for low-income families, always giving back. Mom stood beside me, her hand cold in mine, her face a mask of stoic grief. We buried him in a green cemetery, fitting for his eco-passion. Sorting his estate was straightforward, a modest inheritance split between us, including his half of the house, which Mom had bought out years ago. "It's our piece of him," Mom said, hugging me. I didn't dig deeper then, too wrapped in sorrow.
3 years ago, during Mom's 60th birthday weekend, I returned to Portland. The house felt the same, cozy, familiar, but I decided to tackle Dad's old study, a room Mom had left as is, dust gathering on shelves of blueprints and boxes. Rain drummed the roof as I opened a file cabinet, expecting nostalgia. Instead, a marriage certificate fluttered out. Grace Thompson to Robert Hayes, dated 5 years after the divorce, in a Las Vegas chapel. My breath caught. Robert Hayes? A quick phone search showed a Tacoma construction worker. Died of cancer 5 years prior. Attached was a birth record. Lucas Hayes, born a year later, now 19. My half-brother. Photos from his sparse Facebook. A young man with Mom's green eyes, curly hair like mine, posing with a wooden sculpture he'd carved. My mind spun. Why hide this? That evening, as Mom pulled lasagna from the oven, the cheese bubbling and aromatic, I confronted her. "Mom, explain this," I said, voice shaking, holding the certificate. Her face went ashen, the dish nearly slipping. "Elena, where did you find that?" She collapsed into a chair, tears streaming. "I never meant for you to know. It was to protect you, our family." Over hours, with coffee growing cold between us, she unraveled the story. After the divorce, she felt lost, her heart bruised. Robert was a patient in her ward, recovering from a work injury. A kind, rugged man with a laugh that made her feel alive. They dated, fell in love, married on a whim in Vegas. Lucas came soon after. A joy, but a complication. Dad's parents, wealthy from timber fortunes, had a will with strict clauses. Any scandal could void the inheritance meant for me. College funds, the house share. They were conservative, viewing Mom's quick remarriage as immoral. "They'd have cut you off," Mom whispered. I couldn't let that happen. But there was more. Lucas was born with mild autism, requiring therapies and special education that Robert's blue-collar job couldn't fully cover. Mom feared the grandparents would see it as a flaw, further justifying disinheritance. Robert's own family had debts, adding to the risk. So she hid them, visiting Tacoma on pretended work trips, sending money anonymously. "Lucas knew about you," she said. "He understood the secrecy." Robert's death left Lucas alone.
in community college, working odd jobs. I thought I was doing right, Mom sobbed. My anger erupted. Right? You robbed me of a brother, lied to us both. The argument escalated, voices echoing off the kitchen walls. You chose money over family, I yelled. Mom countered, I chose you over everything. I stormed out, driving back to Seattle through blinding rain, the certificate crumpled in my bag. The following weeks were a storm of emotions. Betrayal stormed in like thunder. Curiosity lightning flashes. I couldn't eat, sleep barely came. Lucas's online presence became my obsession. Posts about favorite video games like The Legend of Zelda, sketches of fantasy worlds he designed, subtle hints of isolation and captions like, another night coding alone. He had my freckles, Mom's smile. I confided in Sarah, my best friend from college, over brunch at a Seattle cafe, the clatter of plates underscoring my turmoil. What if he hates me for having the perfect life? I asked, tears salting my eggs. Sarah squeezed my hand. He's your brother. The only way to know is to reach out. You deserve the truth, and so does he. Her words lingered, and after a sleepless night, I sent the message. Hi, Lucas. This is Elena Thompson. I recently learned we're siblings. Can we talk? No pressure, but I'd like to know you. His reply came the next day. Is this for real? Mom said not to contact you. We scheduled a video call, my heart pounding, as his face appeared on screen. Nervous, but those green eyes unmistakable. Hey, he said, voice soft, with a slight stutter, a trait from his autism. So, you're my sister. We talked for 2 hours, the conversation halting at first, then flowing like the creek in Mom's backyard. He grew up in a modest Tacoma apartment, Robert teaching him woodworking in their tiny garage, Mom visiting with gifts and stories of your big sister Elena, who's going to change the world. She showed me your photos, said you were smart, kind. I wasn't supposed to ask for more. His life was simple. High school with extra support classes, part-time at a grocery store, dreaming of game design. I make characters who find lost families, he admitted, showing a sketch. Tears flowed as I apologized for the secrecy. It's not your fault, he said. Mom was protecting you. By the end, laughter mixed in. We both hated olives, loved sci-fi. Come to Portland, I urged. Meet Mom openly. Your family.
Planning the reunion was nerve-wracking. I told Mom about the call. She wept with relief and fear. What if the family rejects him? She fretted. I arranged a family dinner at the house, inviting Lucas without telling the extended relatives at first. He arrived on a Saturday, tall and awkward, carrying a hand-carved wooden puzzle box. For you, sis. Mom opened the door, her gasp turning to a hug that lasted minutes, tears soaking his shirt. My boy, my beautiful boy, she murmured. We sat in the living room, the same one where I'd played as a child, sharing stories. Lucas spoke of Robert's lessons. Dad taught me to build things that last. Mom shared memories of their secret life, the love she had buried. But when Aunt Clara and Uncle Tom arrived, surprise guests I invited to force the truth, chaos ensued. Clara, Dad's sister and trustee of the family estate, froze at the sight of Lucas. Grace, who is this? Mom explained, voice trembling. Clara's face reddened. A secret son? All these years hiding him to secure the inheritance? Uncle Tom chimed in. This changes everything. The will, the assets. Lucas shrank into the couch, overwhelmed by the raised voices. I stood, anger fueling me. He's not a threat.
He's family. Mom made mistakes, but Lucas deserves a place here. The argument raged. Accusations of deceit, fears of legal battles. Clara pulled out old letters from the grandparents, revealing the shocking core. They had indeed planned to disinherit if Mom sullied the family with a hasty marriage or defective heir, their cruel words for Lucas's autism. They were monsters, Clara admitted, voice breaking. I didn't know the full extent. Lucas, quiet till then, spoke up. I don't want your money or pity. I want to know my sister, my mom, really know her. His words cut through the noise, bringing silence, then tears. Clara hugged him. You're right. You're one of us. The family shifted. Apologies, promises to amend the trust. Over the next months, Lucas visited often, then moved to Seattle for design school, crashing on my couch at first. We bonded over late-night gaming sessions, his ideas inspiring my marketing work. Together, we started a small game studio, Shadow Siblings Games, my campaigns launching his designs, our first app a hit about uncovering family secrets. Mom retired, traveling between us, her guilt replaced by joy. Family gatherings now include Lucas's woodworking gifts, Mom's full stories, and a unity forged in fire. From the woman who thought family was perfect, I became one who embraced its flaws. Lucas taught me resilience, Mom forgiveness, and I learned to build bridges where walls once stood. Our studio grew, funding charities for autistic creators, turning pain into purpose. Unveiling those shadows brought explosions, but the light that followed illuminated a stronger family. If secrets shadow your life, face them. The satisfaction of truth is worth the storm. As Brené Brown said, owning our story and loving ourselves through that process is the bravest thing that we'll ever do. Thank you from my soul's core for sharing this journey of secrets and redemption. If it touched you, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories of family reborn. Your support binds us. Let's keep shining light on hidden truths. Until next time, embrace your story. It's your power.